Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Dugout. It is Monday, but I'm not going to say we are feeling Monday blues because if you stay in Delhi NCR, we are feeling the Monday grays.
Although you have own blue. Indigo blue rather.
Because that's the only color that was standing out in the fog that you have. Otherwise, I would have got hit on the road.
Fog or smog?
Smog, fog, pollution. It's apocalypse here.
Airpocalypse indeed.
Airpocalypse. Where have you picked that up from?
From right where we are sitting. They pioneered the term airpocalypse, and I'm sure no one else pioneered that term.
Okay.
Only our brilliant minds here could do that.
But let me just tell you that it is not just a Delhi thing, as I mentioned. It's a North India thing. Everywhere, I have friends in Chandigarh and Kanpur and Lucknow.
Across the border also, right?
Across the border in Lahore, everywhere. It's Bedlam. It is crazy time. You are literally breathing poison.
Lahore was what, 1000 AQI?
Multan was 2000 AQI.
And it's all down to these forest fires, I must say. There's a reason why this. Also, it's the weather conditions and the way it settles down. Just traps everything. Now,
forest fire?
No.
Farm fires.
Farm fires.
Farm fires. Latest study I was going through, again published on the India Today website, says 38% is all from farm fires.
Oh.
And now they're finding a way to even
dodge satellites.
Yes.
Satellite imagery, they are finding ways to dodge
Yes,
that
they are,
also.
they are. In fact, you should take a look at this latest image that the NASA has released. Because farm fires are not just in India, they're happening in adjacent countries as well. So neighboring countries and Southeast Asia, is not visible because of this cloud that's formed over Southeast Asia at the moment.
Terrible time. It would have been a lovely time to be in Perth.
Yeah.
Blue skies, bright blue skies.
AQI not more than 50.
Summer setting in there. By the way, even winters are slowly, as you can see from Siddharth's attire.
Oh yes.
Wearing
That's the first thing I noticed about Siddharth today.
Winters are
not
here.
the yellow. The yellows are gone. The sweaters are out.
You can see the yellows inside. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to fall ill because we are in for a very busy summer of cricket. So that's why, or a winter of cricket here. So I don't want to fall ill.
Yeah, there are other ways to fall ill, like breathing in this air. So no matter how many
Already you are, so that's why here, if you are exposed to this cold, you will fall ill. So that's why.
Just because things have taken a downturn since the last 24 hours in terms of the air quality, I've gotten calls as if it's my birthday, which is not the case because people have been checking on me, knowing my medical condition.
Which is why I asked you.
Doing?
How come you are not falling ill?
I have gotten 4 calls this morning.
Wow.
Just to check, where are you? I hope. I was like, no, I'm somewhere. What room are you in? Is this a room in a hospital or is this a room in your office?
One of our family members, Sarat Chandra, was inquiring. It must be very bad in Delhi. I said, yes, it's quite bad. So yes.
So the room that Harshit is in is our studio in Noveda, Delhi NCR. That's where he is. Okay. Let's get down to business. What we're going to be doing today is doing a prediction of the series. What has happened, and I can remember a lot of you join us in our live broadcast. For the last 2 months, multiple times we got asked your predictions for BGT, your prediction for PGT. And we smartly deflected it to saying that we will do it once the series is there. And now that we are just 5 days away from the start of the first test match.
3 days away. 22, na?
Huh?
So this day is done.
Achha,
19, 20, 21.
It's not over, yeah.
So still 4 days. 22nd it begins, na?
No, 5th day it starts.
No. So count as 4, na? Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5th, Friday it starts.
Because I've said T-4 in all the broadcasts.
Okay, we'll go with what's
T-4.
Okay, 4. 4 days away, so we can't dodge it anymore. We have to now, catch the bull by its horn and address this particular thing. But truth be told, I don't know if I'm speaking for my 2 colleagues, it's not that the series has come, it's become easier to predict. Earlier it was tough because we kept saying that, by that time we'll know the team combinations, the form of the teams, the pitches, and we'll be able to answer better. Now we are in the know of all these things, and yet, dare I say, it's still tough to really stick your neck out and make a prediction. That's how close this series could be. when I'm saying close, it doesn't necessarily mean that the result could be close. It could be one-sided. But I'm saying at the moment, the information that we have, and it's a truckload of information, is still not giving us a clear-cut indicator as to, you know, what the series could be like. Of course, as I said, we'll differ in our prediction as we go along. But there's no sure shot way, because some series, you sit and you can make prediction and pretty much close. Not the last one against New Zealand, because everyone said 3-0 to India, and you saw
It was the other way around.
It was 3-0 nonetheless.
And you knew what happened. But in this one, it's going to be a bit tough. Am I speaking for all of you?
Yes.
Or has it become easier?
No.
From like, let's say 2 months ago, you know, our regular watchers would say BGT prediction, and we'd say closer to it. Because I actually thought that by that time I'll have a better picture. I've been trying to wrap my head around it, and there's so much information, but none of it is like taking me to one direction.
No, it is going to be very tough. It's not going to be easy to predict the scoreline, because yes, India are down on confidence, but they bring their A game against Australia. It's been happening for 7 years, and I don't see that getting any easier for us to predict. So it's going to be very tough. It's not gotten any easier for us.
Easy for you? From let's say 2 months ago to now?
Slightly easy, because my view of this Indian team has changed. My view of Australia has more or less remained the same. So
your view of the Indian team is somewhere down to what they did against New Zealand?
now I am forced to think, because it is difficult now to ignore what happened at home, and there's serious question marks. So yeah, while at the start of the New Zealand series, I felt very bullish about this Indian team, and I thought that, you know, this is going to be a close series to call. At the moment, I think what I saw in the New Zealand series and of what I see from images at the Perth, which is the newfound fortress, I would say. They've not lost a single match there.
It's extreme.
Putting things together does look a little easy then. It's still, obviously, you know, you can go wrong with it. But I think had you won that series 3-0, then maybe it would have been difficult to call. I think now there are some visible cracks in this Indian team, and for all of them to get filled over the next 5 test matches looks like a big ask.
I already know what he's going to predict, which might come a little later. But because we're going to be predicting, one of the major factors is going to be the news that has been confirmed today, that of Rohit Sharma is now certain to miss out on the first test match. And just to let you know a bit about, you know, where the confusion lay and why is it that you were getting different versions. Actually, it's only yesterday that he's kind of Rohit Sharma himself has confirmed that he's not going to be available. The Indian team was waiting on, you know, having him at the last moment, and even Rohit had not taken the final call as to whether he'll be there or not. Things were a bit fluid. Obviously, he wanted to take stock of the situation and then take a call. Initially, when the Indian team went, as you know that Gautam Gambhir himself said they are hopeful of him coming, because he had not ruled himself out, and he had said that I'll take a call last moment. So the Indian team went there hopeful that he'll come, but back of their minds they probably knew that there can be a scenario that he does not come. But they went there with almost a 50-50 sort of a thing. All of that changed in the last 2 odd days when we reported here on Sports Today that, you know, good news may be around the corner, because a little birdie told us that you know, there's going to be a cesarean baby coming Rohit Sharma's way, and that is going to happen in a day or 2. So by that, as soon as we got to know, we reported that, listen, the baby is before time, it's coming, junior hitman, as we now know, it's coming. So that could be good news, because that will now give Rohit 6-7 days time to travel and make it to the first test match. So in all likelihood, we thought that, you know, he would be there. And he is again one guy who I think always, you know, is eager to, you know, participate in a contest, especially as a captain, and wanted to be there. So we thought he'll try his best, but maybe because of the situation here, maybe, you know, the family needs him, and we're not getting too much into that. Final call he took yesterday that no, I think the best time for me would be a few days later. As things stand right now, he could still travel to Perth in the middle of the first test match, or then go directly to Adelaide. We'll have to wait and watch what
possibly expected to now play the
2-day ping ball affair in Canberra.
Yeah, but
fixture,
so even if he plays the Prime Minister's fixture, he could still go to Perth, like
yes,
in the middle of the test match. So we don't know exactly when, but this is certain now he's missing the first test match, and that's the thing that really counts at the moment. And why I brought this up right now is I'm only thinking of, again, not passing a judgment on his call. I think he's the best person to take that call. And what did Travis Head say about that?
Travis Head, in the PC that will be uploaded on Sports Today, he said that I entirely support this decision of Rohit Sharma. Because if I was in his place, I would have done the same thing. We as cricketers lead privileged lives, but we also miss out on a lot of important milestones. So that is why it's the right decision that he's taken.
Okay, so now that another player has spoken about it, and I think there was somebody else also who spoke about this, I think a few days ago, another Australian cricketer, I'm maybe forgetting who. But the fact is that he's missing. And now I'm looking at it from the point of view of an Indian fan, and this one decision, though it seems like a minor decision in the larger scheme of things, because it's a long series and one player missing out, I think can have grave repercussions on how the series pans out. And that is now going to play a role in my prediction.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking like, why is it that only one player not being there makes so much of a difference? There are a few reasons behind that. One, I think that you don't have your captain to begin with. He may come in a little later, but I think kind of changes the mindset of the team. One is that. Secondly, I think Rohit Sharma, the batsman, I've said this before, would have given me much greater confidence going into the first test match. Then whether now you go with Abhimanyu Ishwaran or a KL Rahul or a Washington, whatever left field selection, anything that you can think of, any combination that you can think of, I think Rohit Sharma to start with, I know he's not been in great form, but he likes some pace and bounce kind of his pitch, is an X-factor player if he got going. And why is that important? Because for me, this test match will kind of tell you where the series is going to go. That's how important I think this test match is going to be. Because if you lose, especially as an Indian team, if you end up on the losing side of this game, then I fear the worst. And I'll tell you why. Because Adelaide, it may not be 36 all out, but Adelaide for me still remains the one test match where India is least likely to win, I would think. So there is a chance that India go ahead and win at Gabba, win at Melbourne or Sydney, but that's a very rare chance. My point is that because you're not putting your best foot forward in Perth, you're not captain not being there, and one of your better batsmen, forget the form. I'm not even looking at Virat's form. He's still one of your best batters. Similar for Rohit Sharma. Him not there, him being your captain not being there. And I think if Rohit was there as a captain and a batter, I was saying Perth was 50-50. And if you won Perth, series could go a different way. But now I think Australia start with an edge with no Rohit around. And that if that is the test match you lose, very soon you'll realize you're 2-0 down. From there's no coming back. So, which is why I think this one decision could be very crucial.
Don't you see a 4-1 then happening?
From there on, I fear the worst. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's what I thought that. Again, one test match you could see it happened. It happened in Adelaide 36, and then you came back, right? You can.
But how are we used to winning the first test match anyway?
You're not, but as I said, just look at it. Okay, I think the way Australia has made this itinerary is not by chance, it's by design. You remember Gabba used to be your opening test match.
Yeah.
But it's changed for a couple of years now.
Yes, but I think the way, and if you remember, Simon Dool said that they've made this
to cook
Bumrah. But I think it's even more, and there's nothing wrong with it. Each host country will do its best to ensure they have an advantage. I think the way they made this series is that your toughest 3 tests are going to be your first 3 tests, because once, as I said, you're 2-0 down, or your series is done, right? So they're not allowing you a foot in the door when you are the most vulnerable, that is at the start of this series, because alien conditions, and slowly and steadily your batters will get used to the conditions, get better. But they want to, finish off the series before that happens. And so what you've done is now Perth is now their new fortress, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
It's not anymore. So you start with Perth, your new fortress, confidence, you're going to win. You go Adelaide, pink ball test again, one memory 36. They haven't lost a pink ball test match in Adelaide. They've lost one in
Brisbane.
but
Which is
not
again Shamar
correct,
Joseph.
not lost. So what they're doing is right up in the front, as much advantage that I can take, that I can get. I'm 2-0 up. From there on, it's happened once in the history of Test cricket, right? Somebody coming back from 2-0 up. So what you're doing is you're maximizing your advantage. As I said, there's a good chance India may come and win, Melbourne and Sydney, but by that time they'd want to just seal the series. Even by the time you go to Gabba, where you will still have confidence, and though Gabba has changed from what it was in 2021, the conditions and everything. But assuming that you go in with confidence, what you're doing is that giving yourself as a host the best chance to have a clear advantage in the series. So I think they've planned it like that, which is why I thought that if you had your absolute best team, like all available, I think Gill injury will also add to it. That's beyond your control. But if you could have had Rohit, Yashasvi open, Gill 3, your best team, Bumrah there to start with, you win the Perth test match, then if somebody is injured from there on, I think you can manage. It's just the timing of it.
Even my prediction was not based on injuries or people who are not going to come. Even if there was a full strength Indian team, I was still going with my prediction only, which is not changed.
So just before I cut you off, so even if it was a full strength team,
Yes.
like a Rohit there and a Gill there and everything, you were still saying India's losing Perth.
Yes.
I second that.
Because there
And
is,
my prediction as well. A Rohit addition, a Shubman Gill, fit Shubman Gill, I don't think it
Wouldn't have made
wouldn't
much.
have changed my prediction.
It
Series
has,
prediction.
it has. I'll tell you why, because for me, Perth was a 50-50 game, I would have thought, to begin with. I would have. But now,
Yeah,
no Rohit.
for me right now,
Gill,
just
I'm giving Australia that.
again reading whatever that I am, and I'm dreading reading everything that I'm reading about Perth right now, because I'm reminded of 46 all out which took place not too long back, and there was just 1.5 hour that we couldn't negotiate with.
Yeah.
Now that spells a lot of trouble for me, and I've seen my batters get out a certain way over the last 6 innings here at home, rather 6 test matches here at home. So I have my doubts. I have my doubts.
See, the difference is, which is interesting, the difference, like many are pointing out, that okay, when the ball is seeming okay, you're in trouble, and you talk about that 46 all out, or even in Adelaide,
36,
where the ball was moving in.
Let's talk about
I'm even
Oval
talking
as
about
well.
India. I'm even talking about when you got out 46 in India as well. Primarily because the ball was, doing a lot. When there's sideway movements is where you're going to have trouble. And same with Adelaide, that's what happened. What most people are banking on when it comes to this Indian team, that typical Australian conditions are not that. They're fast and bouncy pitches, and to which your batters do well, which is a lot of truth as well. The only thing I find which has now changed is, and what people are not realizing, because I'll tell you this, Perth, for example, I looked at some average first inning total of Perth is in 400 plus,
400
right?
plus,
For the
yeah.
last 5-6 years to 2018, since India last went there.
yeah.
400 plus is your average first inning total, but people forget that in the last 1 odd year, Australia has had a huge change in the way their venues are.
Yeah.
And that has been a conscious change. So when you look at those 400 average first inning total, people will say, oh, Perth is a great place to bat on. It was. And Indian batters did do well. Even the 2018 test match, they got 300 plus in the first innings. They did. But the thing is, now the Perth that you're going to get, in fact, so much so, more than Perth, the one other batting friendly venue was Melbourne. But even Melbourne has gone through a siege. Right now, you saw that white ball game, Pakistan, Australia.
Yeah.
You saw how MCG was. That India A game at MCG.
It was quite spicy.
Even something as dormant as an MCG pitch, which used to come under criticism, or this drop in pitch has ruined it. They have spiced it up.
Yeah.
So can you imagine how much more spicier this Perth? This Perth is not going to be the 2018 Perth.
No,
This is going to be a spicy Perth.
Because you see, Perth, even heading into that, there was criticism. Because the last 2 tests that happened prior to this India match, a West Indies side took Australia to the 5th day. Okay, so it was very tough bowling conditions.
New Zealand also played a...
New Zealand played a pink ball test
Yeah.
there at Optus. Okay.
Yeah.
In 2023, a Pakistan side almost took it to the 5th day. They had a spectacular collapse because the cracks widened up.
89 all out.
90 all out. Yeah. So that is why the groundsman is under severe pressure that they have to produce a wicket which is to the Australian bowling strengths.
Yeah.
Marnus Labuschagne is the master at Optus. He scored 3 centuries there.
Yes.
Australia have got an extreme. They have won 3 tests there. They won all the tests that they
All
played.
5.
All 5. But they never won an ODI in Optus. They have never won it there. Plus, T20Is also, they have had very mixed success there. I think 1-2, lost 2. So, in red ball cricket, the pressure is huge on the Australian groundsman at Optus to ensure that prepare a bouncy pitch and prepare a true Perth wicket which will suit everybody.
I think bounce India can handle, but if they end up leaving the grass, which I'm getting together, I read an interview with like 10 grass you're going to leave, which will then allow some sort of lateral movement. You know, that is the problem. Like for now, I've realized that this new generation of Indian batters, and I think they've paid a price for this, you know, increase in their powers to play this bouncy fast track by getting really bad at playing spin. That has happened at home, and that has primarily happened because of the pitches that you're getting. I mean, for the last few years, you start getting, you know, there is a diktat, you have to leave 4 mm of grass in Indian conditions. You saw Shami just now in playing that game. Did you see the pitch there? There was a lot of greenery on that pitch, where batters were struggling. I saw Kamboj, who picked up 10 wickets.
Lali, always.
But see, while you are making those pitches to allow your fast bowlers to get better, and you started to get these crop of good fast bowlers and trying to get your batters used to in these conditions, what it's compromising is your spin ability. But so that's why I'm saying, when you go to Australia, those bounce is good, but when there is some sort of movement, it'll trouble the Australian batting as well as the Indian batting, both. But I think if it's going to be as juicy as I'm expecting it to be, then I'm giving that advantage to Australia, which is why I said that had a Rohit been there, you know, that experience comes both as a captain as well as a batter, makes a difference. If there is a Gill also, still experience under his belt, has gotten runs in Test cricket last calendar year, makes a difference. Now you're going with a makeshift, whatever you go with Ishwaran or, you know, KL at 3 or KL opens or Jurel, whatever you do, still it's a makeshift arrangement. It's not an ideal way. The only glimmer of hope I think that can be for India is that despite Australia making a conscious decision of changing these tracks and making them juicy, unless for the India series they do it differently, and there's reason to do it, because India series, you want to sell bums on the seat, you want people to come in, and you want a good 4-5 day test match. You do not want a test match finishing in 2.5, 3 days, which those pitches will ensure. Secondly, you know, broadcast money is at the highest. You do not want a 2-day, 3-day test. Okay, 1 or 2 test match here and there is fine. But by and large, it's your biggest summer. They're advertising it like, you know, biggest summer, Kohli is in town, Pant is in town. I've seen all those promos. So with that, there could be some reason for Australia to say, okay, about a year ago, we decided to have these juicy tracks. But listen, this is a big draw series. We can't have 2-day test matches. We can't have 2.5-day test matches. We need 4-5-day test matches. So let's go back to the 2018s and 2020 and 2021s. That was the thing. If that happens, then I'm you know, bullish about it.
Although I doubt it.
While you mentioned that, I was also...
The commerce in cricket?
Because see, if you have to compare it with the rivalries, okay, Australia, India is maybe now in this current year notch above the Ashes. That's a traditional rivalry that's been there.
So wouldn't you want it to carry
What happened in 2021?
While I know the media is really celebrating this, and Nikhil says, you know, the whole, you know, of Australia is painted, you know, ready and in Aussie colours at the moment. I saw some of their tunnels also, train stations painted for this series. However, I was looking at one of the local guys over there, one of the social media influencers going around the city of Perth, asking people how excited they are. I doubt, because those reactions were underwhelming. If the reactions would have been the same to an Ashes series.
I'll give you an example from Australia, having travelled there. A lot of Australians are not into cricket, are not aware of cricket, which is a thing. So when you have these social media influencers doing it, they're just going around. But there is a section of Australians that absolutely love their cricket. They'll turn up in large number. Yeah. It's not like India where everyone knows what's happening in cricket. There are people totally oblivious to it, but then there are those hardcore fans, which is why I'm saying, for that number of people, they will.
I was also looking at some of the numbers that the Perth venue, you know, the organizers at Perth are also expecting. They put out the number the other day, and it was later on that I saw this video. I was like, you know, if random sampling was to be a thing and you were to prepare, and like, how are they going to be filling up the seats given if random sampling was ever a thing to be taken seriously?
Let's look at the other series.
But I do expect there to be a decent turnout. Having said that,
see, they won't alter the conditions. Okay, firstly, because if you look at the Ashes, what happened in 21? Brisbane lasted about 4 days. Okay. Adelaide lasted 5 days when you look at it. The pink ball test, the one where you were expected to have so much movement, but it turned out to be a very slow pitch. Melbourne lasted about 3 days, 3 to 4 days, because you got rolled out for 68. Melbourne. Sydney was the only match which lasted about 5 days. That was a typical Sydney wicket. Belrive turned out to be a 4-day wicket, because you again committed harakiri and got all out. So I don't think the Australians will want to alter the conditions for the sake of commerce. They would want to ensure, see, they have also got World Test Championship final at stake. They are the defending champions. India are playing their last series of the cycle, but Australia have 2. After this, they'll play 2 in Sri Lanka.
But they, Australia, on the other hand, then also run the risk, just as India did, preparing those turning tracks versus New Zealand. You dug the hole and you fell in it. Because, see, right now, if I had to look at the batting, I really don't know. It's between the devil and the deep blue sea that you have to choose. Because both batting, even Australia, for that matter, you've given Labuschagney's numbers and Smith's overall record and so on and so forth. And Travis Head always does well against India. But lately, they've all been found wanting. So even they run the risk. So Indian bowling, whoever they go in, will also then, if the conditions are
because see, 18-19,
that theory of the one that you talked about again, maybe it was Dool or whosoever said that you're trying to get Jasprit Bumrah cooked early on in the series by the Dool. So again, if you give that kind of a wicket to a Jasprit Bumrah, there is an all likely chance that Jasprit Bumrah also takes you by surprise.
Yeah. Why Jasprit? Even an Akashdeep will...
Or a Siraj or a Harshit Rana.
Actually, Siraj, even though he hasn't been in great form, but I think Australian conditions will suit him.
Or a Prasidh Krishna.
Yeah, could be. Prasidh wasn't
or
top.
If it is Harshit.
But Prasidh was in top form in the India series.
Exactly, especially in Melbourne.
But they're talking about Harshit as well. They're saying that he's taken to red, even though he's so fresh in red ball cricket, and that question was asked to Gautam Gambhir. Whatever we are hearing from people who watched him in those match simulations, that he's taken to red ball cricket as fish takes to water. Like he's ideal for Australian conditions because he's been using the short ball very well.
Yeah.
So the bouncer is used really well, troubled a lot of Indian batters. So there's an outside chance that he plays ahead of Prasidh if India play 4 fast bowlers, that is.
Yeah.
Because if you're going with 3, then I don't think either Prasidh or...
See, if Australia dish out those 18, 19, 20, 21 wickets all over again, then they are in trouble. Because their batting also lacks confidence. But I don't think they will. Because they have cracked the code as to how we want to make the pitches equally important for our batters and to our bowlers as well. Which is why after 2020, 2021, they had a resurgence for a brief while. At home now, they are desperate because if they lose the BGT yet again, their defense or the WTC is done. For them, they are also looking at a broader picture. And India will join South Africa as the only other guys to have beaten them 3 consecutive times at home. Now, that is something that they will not want to take down.
Also,
very
the other
lightly.
thing, I think when I look at the two sides, and it's not just about Perth, but since we're just talking about Perth conditions, yes, the batters, both sides aren't really in great form at the moment. And for India as well, we've said it time and time again that 20 wickets won't be a problem. It's not been a problem the last time you have visited Australia as well.
Though Ricky Ponting thought it will be a problem for India to take 20.
And he got it wrong the last time and the time before that. Though he did get it right at the time of the WTC final where he criticized India for opting to bowl first, and of course it backfired.
No, Ricky Ponting also, the way how he dissected his own Delhi Capitals' player.
He has a new franchise to take care of.
Exactly.
But again, my point being 20 wickets isn't a problem for both sides, I feel.
Yeah.
It's not a problem for either side.
Where getting 350 plus is a problem.
Is a problem for both the sides.
Yeah.
But which side, if you ask me, is more likely to get 350 right now? I still give it to the hosts, not this
Australia?
Indian side.
Yeah.
That is the thing. This is, I think, the difference maker. I think bowling wise, but again, it's the batters who've let you down for a considerable time now.
So just taking on from what he said, I look at it differently. So I'm not looking at, interesting that he says that bowling is there almost the same, but batting you think Australia is slightly better.
Can I add why? Because barring a Jasprit Bumrah who's played about 50 test matches, barring Mohammad Siraj who's played 31 I believe.
Hence Bumrah has played the same 35, 30, 40 tests. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Bumrah's about 50 now, isn't he?
I don't think so.
whatever the number be. Then you've got Akashdeep who's played 2. Akashdeep 5, Prasidh Krishna 2.
Yeah.
I think that's where the difference comes. This is where, after you get into the first change, second change, after a point, Jasprit Bumrah will stop bowling. That is when you'll have a Siraj bowl, who is your second in command. Then you'll have maybe a Prasidh. And this is where I think Australia will get those 350 runs because you lack experience at the moment in this bowling side. When I look at Australia, while I do back them to get those 20 wickets, I don't see them allowing, with the experience that this bowling battery has, the Australian side, allowing India to get to 350, 400. This is the problem.
So that's exactly what I wanted to say. It's not that I'm looking at the 2 batting orders because he felt that Australian batting order can perform slightly better than India. I mean, we're actually saying the same thing, but I'm looking at it like it's like glass half empty, glass half full. But I think that in terms of batting, I can't make a call. Both are absolutely similar to me because I'm that underconfident about both batting liners at the moment. The reason I think that Australia might fare better is primarily down to the bowling, because I feel that the Australian bowling, fast bowling and spin combination slightly better than India's. In a Hazelwood, Stark, Cummins, the experience.
Lyon.
Average is 17, I think. He's really made use
Plus, you have the MCG
extra
specialist in Scott Boland
Yeah.
also waiting in the wings.
But again, I'm sounding like a stuck record, but this is why I'm saying that.
Is he getting a statue by the end of it?
For bowlers like this, that's why I'm saying, like, when a Rohit Sharma comes out to war, okay, fine, it's going to be tough conditions.
Is it Rohit Sharma at the moment, because you speak so much of him right now? Do you think with the form that he is in, and of course the world knows about his form right now, is he instilling the kind of fear that in ODI cricket or limited overs cricket he would?
It makes a difference. If I'm a Stark, I know in white ball cricket he hammered me. I agree, different conditions. I'll go with my tail up if I'm Stark, but it's a difference between an Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Rohit. If I'm bowling, if I'm Mitchell Stark, I'm looking at both batters differently. And I mean, again, it's like Virat Kohli, also not in great form. But, when you talk about Australia, you'll say, no, boss, I think, this is the time. He's gotten runs before. We're talking about Perth, got a fantastic 100 last time India were there, 2018.
The last overseas 100 before Dominica.
Correct, but you'll say these things, right? Unless you don't pick them. So, again, not that any one of them is going to give me more confidence, but I'm just saying, still, sometimes these, a bit of posturing, a bit of what player is going, and these kind of semantics, you may say that eventually on paper it will not, work out any differently. You have to get runs at the end of the day. But I think this imagery also works, as in who's walking out. Then also like the team, right? Your captain, and Rohit will be that attacking guy. If he gets that ball, he'll smack you for a 4 or 2. You may not have a great series. One Sehwag like knock, if it comes on top, just changes the tempo, right? And imagine if it's in the first day of the first test match. It sets the tempo for the entire thing.
Yep.
Instead, you might have underconfident KL taking strike, or untested Abhimanyu Ishwaran also not had a great time taking strike. Huge difference. Huge difference.
By the way, looking at the latest video put out by the BCCI, in which KL Rahul says he's all set for the first test match.
Well, he has to, he can't
That's
go on
now
record.
a no-brainer. See, even if you had
But then there may not be any Abhimanyu Ishwaran in that case.
No, you could.
Number
could
three.
have,
Bat him at 3.
No, you could have Ishwaran and Yashasvi open. KL could be 3, because that's one strength that KL has, which was made very clear while the Indian team was travelling. I think Gautam Gambhir came and said that how many
I said that
cricketers are
only
there in
because
the
I wanted
world.
to adjust one of your favourites right now.
I am still adjusting him.
How?
I am still getting Jurel.
Where are you playing him?
See, I'm saying opener. Why I'm saying?
You're opening him?
No. I'm saying your opener then has to be. See, if Gill was available at 3, then you had a choice between KL and Abhimanyu Ishwaran, right?
Yes.
Now Gill is not also available. Rohit is not available. You have to then give Ishwaran a chance. Yes. Otherwise, don't select him. Otherwise, just don't select
It's exactly
him.
what I said yesterday.
Yeah, but
when we were making a top 3.
I'm saying with KL Ishwaran, if there was only one slot open, then fine. 50-50, whoever you go with, no. But now 2 slots have opened up, right?
Are you okay playing Jurel at 3?
No. I'm fit. I'm saying go with four bowlers. If it's going to be a juicy track as we expected in Perth, you don't need 5 bowlers. You need to pad up your batting. You need some cushion in your batting. 3 fast bowlers, 1 spinner. your one spinner will bat at 8, which will give you enough batting. Now you can fill in with 7 batters. If I'm filling 7 batters, I am playing a Ishwaran to open, KL at number 3 as well as a Jurel at 6, 7, wherever
If you're not picking an Ishwaran or if you're not picking a Dhruv, in one of the shows that I just gave this idea to Nikhil, get a Sarfaraz to 3.
No, but he is batting at 5, 6. No, why? You have all position batter.
Exactly that we discussed yesterday also at the dugout. Which is why I do want to see Jurel at some point.
Yeah.
And maybe a call on him will be taken. But from 6 to 3 can't be the thing, yeah.
No.
You even batted him at 8.
See, when you have a batter who can bat at every position, why you?
Poor KL, yes, he's walking on that samurai sword, na?
He actually does what you say for
all for
Rahul
team.
Dravid. He'd walk on water. For you.
Unless you do something of the Indian team, if they're really not wanting to take Ishwaran, then they make KL open. Virat then goes to 3 and everyone gets pushed up and Jurel also plays. And
Repeat
then you play
Bengaluru.
5 bowlers.
Then you play a Jadeja and you play 4 seamers.
And
Yeah.
anyway, see, the question that you're asking whether Scott...
But that also is I see a very less chance of that because this is not a Virat Kohli who has runs under his belt right now. Which is why even I'm not changing Virat's position.
He anyway doesn't have a good record at number 3. He averages less than 20 at number 3 after all these years. He's a number 4 guy.
Make him comfortable. You need a in-form Virat Kohli for the entire series. Let him bat at his position. Make him comfortable.
If you are asking, Arshad, if Scott Boland will get the statue, he will get a statue if he gives Australia the win at Boxing Day. They have not won for 13 years in Melbourne.
And MCG is now not the MCG, not
Yes.
the flat track.
Boland 6 for 7. Yeah.
You'll get a result for sure. Okay, let's do the prediction now that you've...
Is it time?
We have more to talk, but since you've given all your pros and cons and equations and everything, now you know everything that there is to know about the conditions. We saw the look of the Perth pitch still looking quite green that I could see. So you know the pitch, you know now what roughly your team is going to be.
Can we begin with you because Siddharth and I have pretty much made it evident as to what our likely predictions to be. I think over the last 40
we are on the
minutes.
same page.
Okay, I'm going very close to call. As I said, I could have gone either way. If the first test match started with Rohit and Shubman both playing, I'm going 3-2 to Australia. I think India will win a test match or 2. They'll come back fighting. Both batting lineups a bit iffy, but I am going 3-2 in favor of Australia. The start is what worries me once again, which I made it clear. Perth is going to be crucial. Adelaide is going to be very tough pink ball for India. The other thing in Adelaide is always that timing, that third innings batting where your time. If it comes in that twilight. It's finished. You're gone. So
although India didn't falter under twilight, they faltered under bright sunshine. So we have to remember that also.
Half the wickets were lost in sunshine.
All. I mean, except for 2. Except for 2 wickets, I mean, Bumrah came out, we lost the third, Kohli fell, and after that was a procession. That was a daylight.
it was a procession.
But because you say 3-2 and things have changed because of Rohit Sharma's omission now from the first test match. If let's say Rohit was there,
I may have been tempted to go 3-2 India's favor. Who knows? Because
if Rohit was there.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is it's so much not
because
Rohit.
Siddharth and I earlier said that
so
it's
Rohit
not changing for us with or without Rohit.
No, it's not so much Rohit. As I said, it's just the whole mood and the team unit going into that first test. Because Perth will decide.
2 factors at the moment. One is Rohit, the other is a Gill injury.
Gill, the captain, it has many, as I explained. It's just that first test match, it would have been a 50-50.
Yeah.
And then I may have gone with
So hypothetically, Rohit's there with the team practicing right now for the last 1 week. Gill is unharmed.
Yeah.
And we take a prediction.
I would have been 2.5 tests. I would have been. Perth is 50-50. Adelaide to Australia.
Brisbane to India. Melbourne to Australia.
Sydney to India.
Or ulta, Melbourne to India, Sydney to Australia.
No, I would have gone that.
Perth
would have decided. But now that, you're
so it is
practice match also you've played, match simulations and all.
So it is a 1977-78 score.
Then I may have beat
So he's gone with a 1977-78 scoreline. That was the last time we had a 3-2 bit. Because Australia won in Brisbane and Perth, but they lost in Melbourne and Sydney, and they won in Adelaide. That was how the trend was. And Bishan Singh Bedi bowled brilliantly at Perth. But we have to also remember that that Australian team was absolutely devastated by Kerry Packer. So many defections to Kerry Packer, and guess who led them? He came out of retirement to lead them. 41-year-old Bob Simpson.
Much like 2018 where there was no Smith, no Warner.
Yeah.
That wasn't Kerry Packer. But
That was their own doing. But the 2020, 2021 was even more spectacular.
That was Uncle Sandpaper.
Yes. It was. So
now come on, get down with your prediction.
my prediction is 3-1 in Australia's favour.
You were good. One draw.
One
You
draw.
have draw in these pitches.
For the one simple reason, the New Year's test in Sydney has always been impacted by rain.
Acha, rain.
Rain.
Then.
And also, when you look at pitches in Sydney, I mean, Australia could very well have done 5-0 in the Ashes. But that Sydney test, it was so flat, they held out for a last ball draw.
18-19, you were bound to win that
But
match,
it was
the rain.
2020-21, the one draw happened in Sydney. 42 overs, Hanuma Vihari and Ravichandran Ashwin batted.
Yeah.
I see a draw in Sydney primarily because the pitch might not deteriorate much and it's not going to spin that much, and also rain. Every New Year's test for the last 5 years has been impacted by rain. So that is why I will say that one draw. The one win where I see India do well is, it may be a very, very surprising choice, Adelaide. I think after all the brickbats that they have gotten in Perth, they would want to bounce back and do well. Sorry, Gaba Ka Gaband Part 2 is not happening. Because you're playing in December, traditionally the time when Brisbane is at its best. That time you played in February, which was the fag end. The pitch changed totally in Brisbane. Brisbane's normally the opening now, but because of COVID, you had to push it to February. So that is why I would say Australia bossing in Perth, Brisbane and Melbourne. Melbourne, Scott Boland. He's the only factor there. And Australia have not won in Melbourne for 13 years against India. Because they won in 2011, draw 2014, loss in 2018, loss in 2020. So they are desperate to break that Melbourne jinx.
Okay, 4-1 says that.
3-1.
3-1, sorry. 3-1. I don't see a draw happen, but he's got rain since he always follows the rain as well.
Yes.
I have
Harshit Rana, go for it.
exactly the same prediction that Siddharth has.
Wow.
3-1 in favor of Australia.
You also think a draw?
Yes. Where I'm not too sure, but yes, going by past events, does look like Sydney to me as well. Where India get that one win, that is where I sort of have a different prediction, and I think India do have something special with Gabba now. So maybe that win comes at Gabba. It's certainly not coming in Perth, and I don't see it happening in Adelaide either. I think the Demons are going to get to you again, and it might just be difficult to negotiate. And I'm not saying it's going to be 36 all out all over again, but I see pink ball test match not going in India's favor either because of India's inexperience with the pink ball as well. You've not played too many pink ball test matches.
You know, there is a streak. India like to break Australia's streak every single time.
You're saying they will break the Adelaide streak?
Adelaide streak, yes.
No, he's picked them. Who knows?
Because that's why I said, after all the brickbats, and you do have a very good, decentish record in Adelaide in this last 20 years. You won in 2003, you drew in 2008. Yes, you lost in 2011 and 12. You came mighty close to beating them in 2014. 18 is one of the first time you won the first test in the Sena country after a very long time. That happened in Adelaide, although that was not a pink ball test. It was a red ball test. 2020, 2021, yes. But then that spurred you to do well now for the rest of the series.
Okay, since our predictions in, before we take questions, one player each, we're going to pick both from Australia and India. One batter from Australia, one bowler from Australia, one batter from India, Australia. Who'd be like the
Difference
stars? Yeah, the stars.
Yep. Oh, you'll start.
I can start.
I'll start.
Yeah.
But once again, one from India, one from Australia, both with the bat, with the ball.
Yes.
Yeah. So 2 each from.
Yeah. With the
Let's
ball.
start with one team. We'll finish it and then you want
Let's
to start
with India. Let's start with
go.
India. Should we just do bowlers first or we do one
do
each?
batter and bowler.
So, bowler, Jasprit Bumrah. No question about that.
I think all of us are the same.
Then you'll have to.
Okay, then I'll take a different.
No, we can. Of course you can.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Jasprit
Bumrah again. He's been the difference maker. His love affair with the MCJ. I hope there's another chapter to that as well. Looking forward to his fiery spells. So, Jasprit Bumrah, the bowler for me. As far as batters concerned, I don't have a lot of options, which is exactly why it's difficult. But if I were to name one, I think the one batter I see succeeding over here is, my heart wants Virat Kohli to succeed. So I'll go with Virat Kohli.
Virat Kohli.
Virat.
I
Okay.
think that's an interesting one. He loves playing in Australia.
Yeah,
Though
54 average.
The only difference, which I was alluding to earlier as well, is that if you look at the record, he should be the first name that comes to your mind. The only difference is now he's going there a few more years added on to him. So the Virat that we all love, the one who gets hit by a Johnson bouncer, and then next ball will pull him, is not the Virat that you will see now. He will find different ways of scoring runs, but
although there was
these pitches
in the final, it was Johnson who won the battle though. Yes, Virat hooked him into submission in 14-15, but in that World Cup semi-final, Johnson bouncer, top edge gone.
Sure. I mean, it gets divided, but that Virat was a different beast.
Oh yes.
And so I don't see that level of Virat happening now. He may still have a certain good knocks that he plays in Australia, but will he be the most dominant Indian batter? I'm not sure.
For me, my batter who I have succeeded to do well for India is Rishabh Pant. He's got a fantastic record in Australia.
Good call.
67? How much does he average there?
Yeah, somewhere close to that. Pant. He
but
always.
Somebody else.
I think Pant will be the X factor in Australia. He's never gotten out for single digits there. So that's why that's one good indication. My bowler, since we all know that it will be Jasprit Bumrah, but if there is anybody else, I think it would be a redemption for Mohammad Siraj. He loves playing in Australia. He's done well in Melbourne. He's done well most venues where he's got. So that's why Siraj and Pant. These are my two guys from India who's going to do well.
Nikhil goes next.
Oh, tough one. Because I would have picked Pant, but he's picked, so I want to pick some. Bowler is Jasprit Bumrah, so I'm not even spending time discussing that. I have to pick the best, obviously. In batting, I was thinking about
Yashasvi.
Yashasvi, interesting one. I think he would have done well. See, if you get pitches like you got in 18 and 21 that India got, I would pick Yashasvi as one of them. But if you're going to get the kind of pitches that Australia have been dishing out last 1 year with a bit of lateral movement, I saw him in South Africa. Not to say that he'll repeat that, he'll be better, but I'm not 100% confident with that. Slightly bouncy pitches, pace and bounce he can handle. In fact, he'll do very well. It's just the lateral movement that could be an issue. So, Jurel it could be, but I don't know how many games he plays. If he starts from the first test match, then it'll be tough to drop him later, and then he'll be the guy. But the point is, him starting first test match is also doubtful. So
He could start. He could start.
If he starts, then I go with him.
Yeah.
How about that? But if he doesn't start, then
Yashasvi. I mean, I know you've got your reasons, but I think he's the only guy looking assured in this entire team.
You could back KL.
KL,
of course.
If they'll not pick Jurel, will you watch the
Yeah, you had said boycott.
Of course, I will watch.
Hashtag boycott BGT. Hashtag justice for Jurel.
That was just a joke. Of course, I will watch.
Yeah, we have
BGT
to
is there,
watch.
I will not watch.
Yeah.
Washington Sundar can get a lot of runs. I have a feeling. But if he plays again,
If he plays exactly,
these are all the
question
ones
marks
who are
over.
not
I picked the guys who are definite starters. Like even you also picked a definite starter. That's why Yashasvi is going to be a definite starter. That's why it's better.
I'm going to pick Rohit, but he's also not a definite starter.
Exactly.
It's too much problem.
KL also we don't know. One test that's a tax.
His participation could be all just one test match.
Sarfaraz also we don't know whether he's going to start that frequently also.
So I'll pick my batter once the first test 11 is announced. Because I know who's
You
playing.
got to remember this.
I know, I have to remember. Okay, 7:15 in the 49th minute. This was said.
I'll pick that.
Okay.
Australia.
For me, bowler Josh Hazelwood. He's, I think, going to be the difference maker. I know there's Cummins, there's Stark, but I think Hazelwood will. He didn't play in the WTC, by the way, final. So that's why he will be wanting to really get after the Indian team. As far as batter is concerned, yaar, Khada ho aaj bhi wahi, the guy who gave us that. I can't look beyond Travis Head. He has a point to hurt India and he's ready. By the press conference itself, you can listen to it. He is focused and ready.
Tomorrow is 19 November.
That mustache of his, it takes me to
19th November tomorrow.
Yes.
gives me memories of David Boone, yaar.
David
That
Boone.
mustache is deadly.
What a player.
You're not going?
You want me to go? Okay.
thought this order.
Bowler, I'm going with Patty Cummins.
Of course.
The
Super
Sage.
Pat.
I think he will use his experience to get the job done. He's a smart cookie, not just all about skill, also quite a thinking cricketer. So I think he'll get the job done. Batting, I would have gone with Head as well. Is the first name that comes here, but I'll pick another one. I'll go with Usman Khwaja.
Ah, yes.
I think he's settled as an opener, quite steady, can get big runs.
Plus has a good record against Bumrah. Has never gotten out to him that often.
So I go with
Uzi
Khwaja.
Harshit.
I will go ahead and pick their temporary opener. Now back to number 4.
Oh,
Steve.
yeah, it's a good call. Because it's very consistent that way.
Yeah.
Because he's gone with the tried and tested blue chip company.
Yes.
He's gone with Virat Kohli. He's going with Steve Smith.
Blue chip
He's
stocks are
He's not.
blue chip stocks are down right now. Both cricketing world and
This
stock market.
could potentially be the last encounter between these two in the Fab Four.
This could also be, I forgot
Because
saying this could also be Virat's last tour to Australia.
Could be. Because 2027 they are next playing in India and I don't know whether they'll be available in 2027. These two. That's why. I think Smith will want to call it quits by 2027 Ashes. Because in England you would want to end it all. That's why.
My bowler choice
Yeah.
would be Mitch Stark.
It had to be 3, right?
We named the Premier fast bowler.
You
No.
picked Nathan Lyon and 4 runs.
If all the matches were held in Melbourne, I would have picked Scott Boland.
Tommy Manas and Stark.
Okay, Shivam,
Because
our producers pick
Stark, I
Labuschagne.
read that he's actually gotten faster.
He has.
He's added a few clicks.
Yeah.
You looked at that second match also against Pakistan. He looked very sharp where he got that ball to get in as well.
You have to just look at the Sheffield Shield encounter that New South Wales played at the MCG against Victoria. He was really troubling Marcus Harris.
He's
No
been
end.
breathing fire of late. So
It doesn't take too much to trouble Marcus Harris.
He was your first choice opener, but Nathan McSweeney pipped him.
also India up against left arm seamers, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Although they have tackled Stark surprisingly well. I know that they've struggled against likes of Bolt, but they've tackled Stark pretty well. I mean, in the World Cup final, it was a different thing that he got 3 wickets, but towards the back end, when there was reverse swing on offer, and he got rid of Shami. The only top order wicket that he got was Shubman Gill. And also, he got rid of KL Rahul. That was the only peach of a delivery that he got. Angling in, reversing away, uncertain, edged.
They troubled you exactly a year back as well.
You picked a batter.
Yeah,
Smith.
Smith, of course. Yeah. Blue chip.
Steve Peter Devereux Smith, SPD Smith.
Okay, let's get down to.
Although, if it was not for Head, my next option would have been Carey. He's a very underrated batter.
No, but his average Siddharth was just, I was looking at his numbers as well, 23 or something.
No, but recent form.
Recent form's good. But again, because I was comparing the two wicketkeeper batters, and I think one of the experts has in fact backed Carey to be the difference maker between the two sides or in the series. But his numbers are rather underwhelming against India.
I know he didn't score much, but that WTC final, he played those 2 knocks with the tail that ensured India were not even in the contest. It was very crucial knocks from Alex Carey. And there's something about him, he's very underrated with the bat.
Yeah.
So that's why. And he's a much better keeper than Tim Payne. Much better keeper with the bat and with the
Tim
keeping.
Payne's going to be doing commentary.
Commentary, yes.
And so will Cheteshwar Pujara. So,
I'm really going to be missing Chiteshwar Pujara.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why I'm not giving India the edge or I don't believe India, I think this is from the time that you last toured Australia, you don't quite have somebody close to a Pujara because look at the times that he played those 200 balls only to get you 50 odd runs, but those 50 runs, more than that, it's just 200 balls that he would just tire down the bowlers. takes me back to 18, 19, playing 200 balls, batting across sessions.
Yeah,
tire the
two
bowlers
centuries, 193 and 123 in Adelaide and
down.
Sydney.
Sydney, exactly.
Yeah,
But-
but I guess if you don't those pitches, if you get those kind of pitches, you'll need that.
And
but
more
if you
than
don't
that,
get those
Gabba,
kind of pitches, you
I don't see any of the Indian batters at the moment. Yes, you're scoring runs quickly. That's in the DNA of this side now. But at times you need to bat things. I don't remember the last time, or I don't see any of these players at the moment saying things like what Pujara said, that the only way to survive out there was to take the ball on the chest, on the chin. He had 11 blows in that Gabba knock that he played.
But again,
Because there were fielders planted everywhere. Anything, bat, glove, you're gone. So he had to just get his body on the line.
unfortunately, that is nostalgia. The Pujara experiment ended in June 2023.
Yeah, no, his point.
I know
is that-
different conditions,
No,
but
no,
I'm
no,
saying
no, no.
here. I'm saying here.
I think he's talking about the BGT. I don't think he's suggesting that it was wrong to drop him. I mean, you did. There was
Yeah.
a time that you reached where you had to. But all I'm saying is his contributions you will miss.
From that
I'm not
time
saying
we-
that he'd be able to replicate that if he was
Yeah.
playing
Because
now.
every time you
But
see,
he
you've
did.
needed players who can dig it out.
yeah.
Right now, none of the Indian players, again, Yashasvi Jaiswal is, somebody who's going to go get you runs is what I believe too. But he will get you runs at the pace at which he bats.
I think there is one individual, he's not playing this test match also, and he may be in doubt for Adelaide also. He can graft around, it's been shown. It's Shubman Gill.
Yeah, can. But
Shubman
I mean,
is known
he's
to be a
talking about
grafter.
No, there can be a lot of them who can graft. I mean,
Sarfaraz
Jurel
can.
could.
Jurel, yeah.
No, Sarfaraz is a busy player. Pant and Sarfaraz, you will
Yeah.
rarely see them.
Jurel.
grafting. Jurel could.
KL.
Rahul could
KL.
if he's in the right
Right space, exactly.
That's the big question.
Yep.
You want him to be exactly polar opposite to the headspace that he was in when he played at NCG. Not knowing what to do
Yeah.
with the ball.
Not that. Don't remind. Okay, let's get down to some questions. I love mutton biryani is here.
I
again.
do too.
Every time he puts a question, I start feeling hungry.
We go hungry, exactly.
It says after 2 weeks clarity, and I think we should celebrate India's 12-year run and build for another big run rather than sob at the New Zealand series. BGT, we do good, at least 2 wins, he feels.
Yeah.
2 win, so even I've picked, but
You
still
picked.
that doesn't do it for us.
See, last time's 2 wins have been enough.
Yeah, but now I think.
See,
it's
last
not
4 series has been 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
2-1.
And see, India 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Anyway, see, if India have to win 3,
bad. What is in Hera Fairy? What is it?
2-2-1-2.
2-2, 1-2, 1-2. Kya? 2-2, 1-2, 1-2. So that's Australia will be saying, no? 2-2, 1-2, 1-2. But again, see, if India have to win 3
Who's going
tests.
to be taking the call? Patty.
उड़ी बाबा अब समझा ये फोन मेरा खून क्यों चूस रहा था रे देवा. So that's what Australia will be thinking at this stage. But if India have to win 3 tests in a Sena countries, it'll be a 56-year first then. The last time you won 3 tests in a Sena country was in New Zealand, 1968. Since then, you've never
Haven't won 3.
2. Max you won
But
2.
now you can't. Now there's rain also, you said.
That's what I said.
I spelt out this stat to a friend of mine who was absolutely gutted. He asked me to leave the group because I came up with exactly the prediction that I came up with right now. He said, listen, Gabba had also not happened until it happened last time. So how can you say we can't win 3 on the tour?
Yeah.
We
Tell
can.
this.
So there are firsts.
We have Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi in our chat. He's asking, Nikhil sir, will you go to cover BGT series? No, sir, we're not traveling to Australia. We'll cover it from here.
Yeah.
But we'll be here at all times. Every match day, end of days play, we're going to be live as always.
I wanted to ask the user, is he commenting from South Africa? Yeah, Shubham Garg is saying, apart from Khwaja, all Australian batters have mid-20 average in this WTC cycle. Oz batters are also struggling. We have to encounter their bowling. Yep. But Australia's batters have stepped up when it is needed to be. For example, Mitchell Marsh stepped up in tough conditions in New Zealand. Labuschagne has stepped up in tough conditions when it was needed in England. Yes, apart from that, it was a plateau. Carey, small contributions. Smith, not the astronomical Steve Smith returns that we have seen prior to this, but yes, it's been a tough year for Steve Smith.
This was Steve Smith who was Steve Smith the opener. Now you're going to be seeing Steve Smith again, the batter that you're used to knowing him for.
Yep, indeed. Shubham Garg, everyone remembers Adelaide 36 all out, but India got first innings lead in that match. So it's not that gloomy. Ping ball test will give India a chance also.
Which is what I think Siddharth also do it.
Yep.
I see that's a different opinions, and at the moment with the logic that everyone's coming up with, you really can't say that one is right or wrong, right? There is no overwhelming proof or data to support one way or the other. Again, which is what will make this series exciting.
Yes. Why no Rakesh Bhushan Singh? Why no mainstream media is covering this iconic series from the venue, barring few YouTubers? We speak a lot about test matches, and then along with players, media too ignores coverage of test matches.
Rakesh, I agree, but see, we have arrangements in place where we will keep getting inputs from there. So it's not that we're not covering it. There's certain reason why we're not traveling, but you will. For example, today you will see the press conferences of all Australian players up on Sports Today. So we've got you covered on that. So don't you worry.
Yep.
Just because one of us is not there doesn't mean that we're not covering from the ground.
Yeah. Rakesh Bhushan. Who in this present 11 can play a Dravid, Pujara, Vihari innings when the situation demands to drop anchor? Imagine if Bumrah wins the first test, then what Sunny said of continuing with Bumrah, will that have some importance?
So again, Rakesh, interesting, but I think the Indian team has made it very clear that once Rohit is back, he will continue. And I don't see any right. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I would also want that. Once your captain is back, he takes charge. Absolutely. You know that you're a stand-in captain. I know Mr. Gavaskar had his view, and he's entitled to that, of course. But personally, if you ask me, if I was in charge of making that decision, which I'm not, and thank God for it, but if I was, I would reinstate the captain once he's back. Simple as that.
Mr. Shekhar GTN from the US is saying, morning all, barring pink ball in Oz, for Indian cricket team, South Africa remains the toughest batting conditions. South Africa grounds with a combo of bounce, seam as well as uneven bounce. No wonder Indian cricket team has never won a test series. Although even Ashwin and Shardul Thakur, once they were having a conversation, they said, every hour the bounce and swing will change. Even if the ball is old also, it will still change. Every hour in South Africa. That's why adjusting is a big problem there for India. That's why they won. Whenever you've seen a South Africa test series, one collapse in a particular session has cost them the match.
200s by KL.
Yeah, at Centurion. But then what happened
At
after
South Africa,
that?
No?
Cape Town.
Yeah, you saw what happened in the second innings of Centurion. Full cluster collapse of 6 or 7 wickets for 50, 80, 60 runs. That's the problem.
Both, and I remember being here, talking that this series deserved a winner, and you had it drawn at 1-1.
Yeah. And here you have 5 test matches.
Exactly. 2 match test
Which is,
series.
I think, 1 too many. 4 is good, yeah. 5 is a bit of a stretch.
It's a marquee.
You need an odd number of series, I think.
4, you get decisions in 4. Now you've been getting it.
2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
4 is good.
Exactly.
1 plays 2, 1 plays 5. Get some balance going, yeah.
Exactly.
4 match T20I series also.
Yeah.
There is a 2-test series. What is that? A 2-test series.
3 is like an optimum number, I feel.
Minimum. Yeah.
But from 3 you have to go to 5. That I am sort of convinced about.
Yeah. I think they are pushing for only a minimum of 3-test series in the next cycle from 2027 onwards.
Thank God.
Ankit Agarwal, recently lots of unexpected results. England versus Pakistan, New Zealand versus India, Pakistan versus Australia, Pakistan versus USA, Afghanistan versus Australia.
Sri Lanka?
Of course. But they are
Sanat.
under Sanat. Yes, it's a wonderful time, but not in the Champions Trophy. They are not in that. So
Who knows?
No.
Backdoor entry.
At whose expense?
The law says they can.
Is it? Does a team's withdrawal...
They can play hosts also.
Who knows?
A host without the host nation.
We don't know. We don't
Last
know.
time
Do
India
not
had
take our
lead.
word very seriously.
Exactly.
It's a fluid situation.
Yep. Indeed, last time India had the lead.
Evolving situation.
Yeah, they had a 44-run lead in the first innings. Shubham Gar, we forget what happened to South Africa in January. They gave the spiciest of pitch, got bundled for 50 and lost the match. Those pitches become lottery, which is why Australia won't fall for that trap. Madhav, Shardul
Thakur's
Thakur.
bowling record is better than that of Siraj and close to Shami, and he has 50s in Australia, England, South Africa and in WTC final as well. Nitish Reddy is also fine, but why is he not in BGT? He is currently playing as well.
Shardul took a long time to recover from an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So that's why they wanted more time
He's been playing some domestic matches.
Yeah, he was in the Mumbai team for the Ranji, so that's why.
And he played one before that as well.
Yeah, he did. Dhanush, Anil, Saurav, Dravid, VVS, Dhoni, Test and BGT. Who will join them? Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Some careers have ended. Let us be very honest about it.
It has. And careers have been blossoming also.
Yes.
Because of BGT.
Exactly. I would say, looking at age factor, I think it would be Rohit Sharma. If he doesn't have a good BGT, if it's a 4-0, if he doesn't win a test match.
Sehwag's last overseas match was also Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, BGT played 2 tests in 2013. He was sacked after that. So, Prashant Gautam. This may sound ridiculous, but I guess this series is going to be the redemption of 19th November 23 and a silent Aussie crowd. I agree on those first 4 words that he said. It is a World Cup final is a World Cup final.
Just because he doesn't agree with you doesn't mean
No.
ridiculous.
A World Cup final is a World Cup final.
Yeah,
A bilateral series cannot come.
A BGT win.
We are talking like England now.
No. Even Australia, like Ashes, they treat it like that. Yeah?
That's the
They're
trap.
like WTC, they don't.
Oh no. See, Australia can at least talk
Right
about.
now, if we were to crack a deal with Australian cricket, listen, let's just replay the final ones. You keep the BGT.
That was a reel which went on. Okay, they had juxtaposed 2 matches: India-Australia, Chennai; India-Australia, Ahmedabad. They flipped the dates. November 19th was India doing well in Chennai. October 8th game was Ahmedabad. They flipped that.
2 for 3.
Exactly.
India team will play Australia.
But
We can ask for a. Is he asking for a replay tomorrow?
Yeah, he's saying since both are in Australia, why not play a ODI match replay?
see,
Deferred.
Test match is starting tomorrow. It will be 3 days then.
3 days. Yeah. Hey, this is all
Come on, yeah.
again. Let's not talk like the English.
And why would you play the final without Chami?
Exactly.
Exactly. He's not there.
Without Hardik you can and you played. But without Chami you can't. Without Shardul you can.
Yes. Plus, and of course, more than the series now, forget ODI World Cup, the WTC final, yaar. For everything, it culminates in the WTC final. Australia won that also against India. So, Abhishek Sharma is saying, okay, the scorelines were 2-1 prior, as the series was a 4-match series, but this time it is a 5-match, which is why 3-1. Which is why. जसबीर सिंह वीजा अप्लाई किया है ऑस का आ गया तो मेलबर्न से आपको लाइव अपडेट
Oh,
थैंक यू
Jasbir,
जसबीर
yeah. Thank you, Jasbir.
Yep.
Please, if you end up at the ground, do drop in a DM on our Insta account,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
one of our producers will get in touch with you. 100%.
He's on Instagram all the time anyway.
Yeah. Vishal Panchal. Injury and Rohit not
He's
available.
joining us from the US. Must be early morning.
Early morning, yeah. Injury and Rohit not available, and keeping WTC final in mind. Why can't we get Pujara back for one series even though India has moved on? Again, I said, that experiment ended in June 2023.
You just need to request him to come down 2 floors.
Although it has happened in the 2003 ODI World
He's
Cup.
not doing commentary from Australia.
He could be.
I think he's doing it from here.
Here, from the studio in
From the
Mumbai.
studios, I think.
Yeah. Although it has happened once.
They'll be tempted to if he's there just 2 floors over there.
Although it has happened once in the 2003 ODI World Cup. Alistair Campbell was on commentary, but then the Zimbabwe team was so beset by injuries, like, Alistair, please come. So from commentary, he became an opening batter. So that can happen. DK.
Shivam, relax.
बस हो गया.
I know.
बस हो गया थोड़ा ज़्यादा.
Yeah. Austin Kuna, Nikhil sir, Sid sir and Harshit sir, please do a mock auction at Sports Today. Viewers would love it. Punt 376 runs away from being 5th Indian to 1000 test runs in Australia.
Yeah, we will do a couple more. We've already done a few videos on the auction. We'll do a couple more in the coming days. I mean, before we wind up, I have a question. Why do they have to plan the auction while the test match? Like, there's a 10-day gap between the first and the second. Any one of those days.
BCCI and host broadcasters want to kill us.
No, But what's the surprise there? There is an India versus Netherlands match on the day of Diwali. There is the retention list that gets announced on the day of Diwali. And to the club of, or to the record of ruining things for everyone, including themselves, this is just another chapter.
I mean, there's 10
These-
in the middle.
These two things have robbed me of my primary objective. How will I watch the World Chess Championship?
Siddharth's problems are real.
No, he's got his priorities.
Yeah, are real.
For me, these 2 weeks of BGT are a blur. For me, that is the most important sporting event for me. The World Chess Championship. You could have the youngest world champion, and India will finally get its hand on a world champion. That looks far more realistic as compared to the cricket that your form is currently showing at this stage. Winning 4 tests in Australia, even Sunil Gavaskar, we are not winning 4-0 in Australia. We have to be realistic. We have never won 3 or more only once in our 140 years of history of touring. That's why.
Why so serial? I like the word
I know.
from why so serious. He says, Nikhil sir, New Zealand won here, West Indies won ODI, Sri Lanka won 2. Don't you get the feeling that the sport has become more competitive and teams like Sri Lanka coming back? I agree, which is great news, by the way. Lovely to see the resurgence of Sri Lankan cricket. Also, to that extent, New Zealand winning here. I agree with you. It needs that. You can't just have 2-3 teams dominating the sport.
Correct.
It's always good to have a good competitive setup, as you had a decade or so ago. So
Yes.
yeah, while Australia did dominate a lot, but still on a given day we put under pressure. India did, winning 2 back-to-back BGT in Australia. So I like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So it should. And even South Africa, they started to really fall down, back as finalist at the T20 World Cup. And you need about
Could
good
potentially
7,
make it
8.
to the WTC final as well.
Yeah, teams. I think
Very
that-
good chances.
Yes.
Okay, I love mutton biryani. Is back. He's saying if India win BGT, mutton biryani party from me to. Sports
Now we
Today.
want India to win the BGT.
Now you change your prediction.
No. But for the sake of mutton biryani, I would love to change it, but I'm not.
Okay, on that note, we'll take your leave.
Yes.
Thank you once again for your company on the dugout. We always look forward to having you. Next 3-4 days, rather hectic. We'll keep coming back with more and more program. Who knows, maybe an IPL auction special or a mock dugout or BGT.
I want Siddharth's question to be addressed as well. Because Siddharth's update yesterday didn't take that into consideration.
Acha, go quickly answer.
Siddharth only because he's the Karta Dharta, na?
Answer.
Siddharth's asking, how will I end up watching Amorim's first match, which is against Ipswich this weekend? You were anyway deprived of club football over the last 2 weekends because there was an international break. Now there is auction happening, there's BGT happening, there's a Manchester United match to watch as well.
You'll fit
Predicament.
You'll fit everything in.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
Exactly.
Take care. Keep yourself safe. Gear up for the winter if you are in that part of the world where winters are setting in.
Yeah.
And wear a mask if you are in anywhere in North India.
True.
Take care. Bye
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Nandri.
Nandri, Shubhratri, Shabba Khair.
Eat your vegetables. Don't trouble your mother. And please subscribe to Sports Today. Bye-bye.